it's me, you're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Alright, so I'm doing like I'm gonna do like a little vlog, kind of my journey to recovery. You can't tell. Currently in a sling, and there's a saying in the cycling world that everyone always has an accident. It's just when your accident is and when that time will come, and my time has come. Just on my way to the hospital, that could be seen. Basically had an accident on Tuesday night and have fractured my elbow. Fractured elbow means no driving, and fractured elbow also means no cycling. So last Tuesday had a pretty bad crash. I think there was about 4 or 5 of us involved in the crash. It was at Sydney Olympic Park pain train, and we were only about 18 minutes or so. Sorry, life's been quite difficult using my left hand for everything, considering I am right hand dominant. So having a fractured elbow on my right arm, I haven't broken my right arm since I was 4, and I tell you what, it is difficult. Anyway, back on track. We were 18 minutes into pain train, and we're going down probably one of the smoothest, flattest sections on the ride. Not really raising any concerns, or typically it wouldn't raise any concerns in this area. Anyway, the person in front of me, I was sitting pretty close on their wheel, and I think they tapped the wheel in front of them. Basically, their bike flipped in front of me, so I was 4th wheel and the 3rd wheel back. His bike flipped in front of me, and his bike and body basically went under my bike. And at this point we're going probably 40 kilometers an hour, maybe 45. It's a pretty quick section down there, so yeah, going at least 40. And I couldn't do anything, honestly. I kind of like saw it before my eyes happening. Jumped on the brakes, rear and front, went over the bars, did a front flip, and kind of all just happened within the space of like a second, and it was over. But then about 3 or 4 people came over the top of me, so yeah, there was about 4 or 5 people involved in the crash, and 3 ambulances. So 3 of us went to hospital. One of the guys got a compound fracture in his wrist, so he came off a lot worse than I did. All in all, like, actually pretty grateful that it's just an arm, so at least I can keep riding, and the recovery is actually not going to be too long. Like, it feels really good already, and it's only been not even a week. My arm's already healing quite a bit and quite fast, so I'm looking forward to getting back on the bike shortly. My left arm is just nowhere near as strong as my right. Held it up there for like a minute and my arm was hurting. Basically fractured the elbow Tuesday night, and then they said come back in about a week and we'll do a reassessment to check whether I need to have surgery or not, how it's progressing. And I don't think I will need to have surgery, because honestly it feels really good, and it was a tiny fracture. I'll chuck actually the photos of the fracture up on the screen, and if we have any radiologists in the comment section or in the viewership, let me know if you actually can see the fracture. I couldn't tell myself. I'm actually assuming that I landed and like twisted, or like maybe landed on my hand, or put my hand out to stop myself, and then the impact shot up my arm and kind of fractured a little bit. But yeah, the fracture's tiny. So anyway, Lynn commented on my Strava the other day, and she said, oh, when are we gonna get a walking episode? So, I mean, maybe you can count this as a walking episode, but I thought I'd give a little bit of a update, because I might be MIA for a bit until I get my bike back anyway. So the bike is currently at the bike shop. It looked fine, twisted handlebars, seat was a bit bent. Didn't look like there was any cracks in the frame either, so that was good. But Ben from Pedals Plus in St Ives is doing a full check, taking it apart, and gonna let me know today, hopefully. So I dropped that off on Friday last week, and it's Monday now. Hopefully I get the bike back today, and then I could potentially try do some trainer videos as a cripple, but we'll see how we go. It was the one night that I also decided not to film Pain Train. It would have been absolutely gnarly footage as well. Man, I knocked myself for that, but such is life. I want to say also shout out to Daniel, Terry and Joel. They're probably the 3 people that kind of helped me the most through the process. before the ambulances got there. So thanks, gents. Just walking out of hospital now.
3 hours later.
I don't know whether we got good news or bad news. Apparently I'm in a new brace and I may have to have surgery, so now I need to go get a CT scan. They need to check the ligaments around the elbow. Basically, the doctor thinks that when I landed, I dislocated my elbow, which broke the radius and actually snapped a little bit of the ulna. The ulna is a tiny chip which they kind of overlooked in the first few x-rays. And looking at the x-ray today, it's quite visible. I'll put it up on the screen and I'll compare the two. So like I'll put them side by side so you can kind of see the difference in the first x-ray and the difference in the second x-ray. If you zoom in, like the doctor did, you can actually see on the first one that there is a little chip on the ulna, but it was very, very hard to see in the x-rays they did. Go get a CT scan to see 3D imaging. He was saying that he doesn't think it's damaged. He's hopeful that it's all right. And he said that worst case, I'll need plates and I'll need screws. And then he told me that it was 6 months to a year before I'd be back on the bike. And we know that's not true. So once I get my bike back from the bike shop, I'll be on the trainer pretty much immediately. I've got legs, that's all you need. We're in here about to have a CT scan. What's this? Never done one of these. That's my name and stuff up there. They did the CT scan, and I don't really make it very easily accessible. Being 6'4" and a quite large human, I didn't really fit in the machine properly. I'm in some real awkward position, and given my arm has limited range of motion or limited mobility, it wasn't very good. Quite painful, but we got through it. Now I just got to wait till Wednesday and find out the good or the shit news.